Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, all you frickin' nerds. We are Digital Waypoint, and my name specifically is your boy and dog, Noah Pace. I dropped my last name. That's okay. We're intimate now.
You can get doxxed.
I can get doxxed now. My name is Noah. I'm sitting across the way from Mason, who told me that it would be a funny idea to scream, and because I agreed with him, and I do think that funny equals loud, I thought it was funny. Mason, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm definitely not that high energy, but I'm doing good.
So, like,
I aspire to be that high energy, but I just am not.
I was, like, coming in there like a freaking bullet, and you're like, hello, today.
Gotta balance it out.
Gotta balance it out. Yeah. Well, you also balance out the cuteness because you're really cute. All right. So, if you liked that intro music, you're going to love my boy, A Cloudy Sky. I talk about him every freaking podcast. Sometimes I talk about him too much because I love him too much. A Cloudy Sky, Sky spelled S-K-Y-E. You can find him on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, really anywhere that you listen to music, he is on there. Great dude, great music. All right, today is our part 2 of our 2-part series on bad games.
Mm-hmm.
So we took a look at last week, sort of, should we allow game developers to make bad games? And when we talked about it, we talked more about stylistically and how they produce it. And I think that there's two sort of, in the last, let's say, decade, there's been two things that have really made some video games just garbo and some really good. Like, the two biggest things that hurt a game is generally, nowadays, is I don't feel like there are many bad storied video games. There still are. But I think that one of the biggest things, I'm going to stay on topic, one of the biggest things is poor, like they release it and it's not finished.
Yeah.
It's just, it's glitchy or it doesn't work right. Think of Fallout 76, think of Cyberpunk, really think of Cyberpunk. But I feel like even that is generally a bit more of the rarer kind. I think that the big thing that has really pissed gamers off about video games is microtransactions. They have taken over. And it's kind of insane to really think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think?
I'm just waiting for my, cut in right there.
Oh, okay, that's your cut in.
Cue
talent.
What?
Cue talent. Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm drinking water.
Yeah. Okay. Just drink it right into the mic. No, I agree. So, like, for people that don't know, microtransactions. Let me give you a little bit of a history, just a little bit. All right. So, video games, even up until I would say close to 2015. So really, just in the past 6 years, this has been a big thing. Probably not even that long to where it's been a huge issue, but. Video games used to have to go out to the store. You'd go to GameStop, Best Buy, wherever, Kmart, and dude, it's old. Old games or physical games are old. Kmart is old.
I thought Kmart was like
dead,
out of business.
It is. But
you
buy stuff on. I don't know. There's maybe like one or two. I feel like physical games are like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
There's like, you used to go out. Now you just stay in your home. You don't socialize. They've really profited off of the. I don't know why I said that so weird. Profited off of the pandemic and things like that. So, video games used to be sold strictly physically, a disc, a cartridge, something like that. And now, because of internet-based sales and digital downloads, the companies making these have been able to add games in after the initial release. So that's really where they get you. You know, you used to buy a complete game, and that was it. That's all you got. And you could buy, like, I don't know. I can't even think of anything before that has an expansion that you would go and get. I'm sure that there was a few cases for like PC games and things like that, or like I think Diablo had expansions you could go and buy, and MMOs and things like that. But it wasn't anything. Those were rare cases.
I don't know nothing about that devil stuff.
Diablo. So,
well, I feel like there's a bit of a shift where you're kind of like you were saying, like there were the like physical games that you would buy, and then DLC started becoming like a real thing. You know, you started having like season passes. You started having yada yada yada. I think, and we'll talk more about this series, but I think Call of Duty. I think that you can kind of see the whole progression of everything the easiest. Like it was, you know, you bought a Call of Duty game. That was the game. And then slowly they started introducing, you know, a new map. Yeah. And it would be like $1. Or they would do this, and this. I remember in Black Ops 2, I guess it's closer to they had DLC packs where they had different maps and all that different stuff. But then they also did the skins thing where they you could pick, you know, skin was like 99 cents. And I remember, man, when those things dropped, it was like you could pick per console. You could like vote. And
yeah, I remember that.
I remember Xbox had we had Cyborg and Dragon, and I remember me and my friends sitting like, dude, come on, it's almost 2 o'clock. And they were about to drop it. Then we put them on, and I was like, I'm still rocking the bacon camo. Yeah. There's no discussion.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point. Call of Duty, you can really, if you want to know the history, pretty much in general, if you want to know the history of how the industry is going, look at Call of Duty. But specifically microtransactions, because you're right, it started out as you can buy one map because they released 1 or 2 after the game came out. And then it was the packs. And then it was the packs came with a gun, and then it was season pass, and now it's I don't even know what they're called now. I think they're still called season passes, but you buy one legitimately like every 4 months or whatever.
Yeah, the seasons.
It's like
they
now
have, like with a new season, they basically have like a new thing.
Yeah, and it's you don't even actually buy content now. Now you buy the ability to unlock the content based on how much you play.
You're talking about season passes or battle pass.
Yeah, like a battle pass. That's how everything is adopted.
Fortnite really introduced that.
I think Call of Duty has it now too, though.
No, yeah.
Warzone definitely does.
Most BR games now have some sort of a, and it could be that some of the games started battle passes, but like, I just remember
Fortnite's the first one. I
mean, like what is going on? And then all of a sudden it was like, boom! Every game, you freaking pick up a Barney game for your 2-year-old cousin. It's got a
battle pass.
Battle pass.
Yeah. So.
Is Barney still a thing?
I don't know. So now you end up where you don't even buy content. You buy the ability to unlock the content in the way that we used to just unlock content.
Yeah.
So I hate it, but let's get that out of the way. But games that include things like this, or the things that they include, are going to be like nowadays are characters, character costumes, weapon skins, upgrades, premium features. As much as I hate that, that's usually a horrible, horrible thing. The characters and premium features are where they get you, and it becomes just really pay to win. And
it depends. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll end up talking about that. Yeah. So, like using the Call of Duty example, I remember the first time. Well, I guess I saw pack openings for CS:GO. And that was the first time I was ever personally introduced to loot boxes. And the
remember when those 2 YouTubers made like that CS:GO gambling site, and they were like, "No, we're not behind this." And
T. Martin?
It. Yeah, T. Martin.
Yeah, T. Martin.
And what was the other guy? British guy.
Scumbag. I don't know.
I don't remember either. Syndicate, right?
Syndicate?
Pretty sure it's Syndicate. Yeah.
I don't know.
Crime Syndicate is what it was because of the. I thought that wasn't going to land for a minute.
That was funny. But yeah, like I just remember seeing this guy. I don't know if you, his name's Mortal HD. He used to be my favorite YouTuber. He was just so off the walls, funny, chill dude.
Let's see if he still exists.
Keep talking. He does. He doesn't. Yeah, so he posted a lot of CS:GO case unboxes and stuff like that, and I remember just thinking like, it's just gambling. This is all you're doing. Is it's a roulette. That's all you do. And I remember when, specifically with Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare came out. That was the first Call of Duty game that had loot boxes.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, what? Why can't I just like buy spend $20 and get all this crap?
Yeah.
And now it's like you don't even know. Sorry, I have to type in my cookout order. Mason, go ahead and start talking.
All right. So anyway, yeah. Advanced Warfare really brought him in, and it was just basically RNG. So that's when loot boxes really came into the fray. So microtransactions are pretty often baked into games along with item drops. They use RNG, random number generator. So that means you're going to get a box or a pack with an item or several items in it. And most games that have loot boxes are usually free games.
Yeah.
And then they offer the option to buy these loot boxes with real money, and that's how they fund themselves. So the games that are free, I kind of cut some slack depending on how they do it. I think that they're like High Res, the company High Res that makes like Paladins, they make some competitor to Fortnite. It was a battle royale. It never got any players, I don't think. But Paladins, I think, is one of the biggest games. They do Smite, I think, and they do this really well, where their games are free, and you buy the emotes, you buy the skins, you buy things like that, and you can get the characters, but it's pretty easy to get the characters just by playing the game, like pretty easy. I did it, and Paladins is an Overwatch clone, basically. So they do it well. But there are definitely games that are just give us $60 and we'll give you not even half a game.
Yeah.
Pay us some more.
Yeah.
So,
but even thinking about the free games, I don't think that you can talk about it without bringing up Fortnite and just like, even though there were some things that weren't great in how they handled some of their loot boxes and stuff like that. I mean, the game being completely free. And with the absolute storm that was caused when that game came out and how everybody and their mother wanted to play it or wanted to talk about how much they hated it.
Yeah.
Like it was – and how much money they made. I don't have the numbers right in front of me. But they had to have made
when you can
multiple
have
billion dollars.
When you can have any character that you want, any IP, anything in your game just because of your name, you know that you've made so much money.
Yeah.
Like when Disney and Warner Bros. And whoever owns John Wick and Sony even, Kratos is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Kratos
was in it. Yeah. You never seen that
no.
video of him doing like the emotes? It's disturbing.
So
yeah,
funny.
Kratos was in it. And like they've got all these characters.
Like the new Kratos or like the old Kratos?
Like bearded Kratos. Like
Kratos.
Man,
I wish they would have had the old one and him just starting yelling profanities. That would be really funny.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry if you could hear me just bash my mic with my wedding ring. Sorry.
Punted that.
But I agree. Like Fortnite. So here's an example. Like Fortnite originally in my book, I was like, okay, they're just doing these battle passes. All you get is skins. You can get I don't think Spider-Man's been in it yet. I think he's coming. Like in a couple months, but they've had Alien vs Predator and all that. Anyway,
Alien Predator?
Alien and Predator.
Oh,
yeah, Alien versus Predator.
Predator, more like Spreadator. I can't take credit for that. I saw that was Game Grumps.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have known, but people might have. I wouldn't have known. I didn't know that
about Spreadator.
Yeah, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Anyway, so this is from Oscar Gonzalez at CNET. Said Fortnite and Rocket League players. This is just Epic overall. This is not just Fortnite, because Epic bought Rocket League.
Yeah. Oh, they did.
Yeah. Oh. Fortnite and Rocket League players who purchase loot boxes have the opportunity to get both real money and fake money back for their troubles thanks to the settlement of the class action lawsuit. And I guess the fake money is just talking about like all the stuff they've earned in game. It says the settlement stems from a 2019 lawsuit in which Epic was sued over the use of loot boxes that were purchasable by minors. So that's a big thing in microtransaction loot boxes is that minors are able to buy them. Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, responded and said, "We stopped offering random item loot boxes in Fortnite, like the loot llamas and the Rocket League crates." I hated those things. The loot llamas. I wasn't ever good enough to play Rocket League, so I can't even hate it.
Yeah, I suck at Rocket League.
But anyway, he says, because we realized that some players were repeatedly disappointed by not receiving an item they hoped for, and now players should know up front what they're getting or what they're paying for when they make an in-game purchase. So he's talking about like the RNG. You shouldn't be like, pay me the same price, and we're probably going to give you something that's garbage all the time. So this is a good move, I think.
Yeah, I understand the argument. Like, I understand this argument and saying, like, all that stuff. I feel like gamers and, like, people that play video games, even casually, are big babies nowadays.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Like, they're just like, I wanted the John Wick skin. Like, dude, okay, come on. Just freaking play your Randy Andy skin that you get because nobody cares.
Yeah.
And, like, again, I understand the legality of it, and I do think that it's a worthwhile thing to talk about. But I'm also like the fact that it said some players were repeatedly disappointed by not receiving the random items they hoped for.
I agree with that. My only issue is like most of the time these are kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old. You know,
why the hell are they playing Fortnite? That's a rated M game.
I think it's rated T.
Is it rated T?
I'm pretty sure. There's no blood in Fortnite. It's just guns.
Yeah, and bodacious, bootied women.
Well, I haven't played it forever, so.
I don't know. I haven't played it. I played the first season, didn't get a win, and then quit, and didn't play it for another year and a half, and then I finally won, and I will never play it again.
Yeah, it's rated T.
Oh, okay.
You have a very low threshold for rated M games. You're like, this Fortnite dancing and shooting.
I feel like
the
nowadays
of Nerf guns?
you put a gun in there.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
Smash is rated T.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's Nintendo. Nintendo can get away with just making anything.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. My only issue is when it comes to these minors and parents who end up having their credit cards taken and don't know it.
Yeah,
and then it's like,
yeah. Why
did I lose $850 this week? Where did this go? What is V-Bucks? So, you know,
Robux.
That's where my issue comes in. I agree. If you're an adult and you're on here spending money and you're complaining, stop spending your money. It's just not that hard.
Grow up.
Just turn it off. Like,
yeah. I know a kid that went to my high school and he took his mom's credit card and he spent $300 on Clash of Clans gems, and everybody thought that it was really freaking funny, but he had a really cool base afterwards.
I mean, he had what?
He had a really cool base.
He had a really cool base.
He had a really
I
cool
bet
base.
after $300.
Yeah,
I mean, it is funny, but you know. Anyway, yeah, these games are most of the time called the games where there are these RNG things like Epic CEO is talking about are usually referred to as gacha games, kind of named after the Japanese vending machines where you go in and they're like vending machines that you get in. We used to have it like in the mall where you go and put your thing in, you try to get the sticker that you want in your little pod. You know, you put your quarter in and you try to get the sticker. Yeah. Except they're like really big in Japan, so you get toys and things out of them. So yeah. So we'll move on to talking about really, I guess, like when this is really bad practice, which is pay to win, and when it's, you know, decent practice of funding your free game, which is just cosmetics and things like that. So why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, I mean, pay to win is exactly what it means. It's pretty easy to explain. It's you are spending money and you are getting an advantage. You know, I think that a lot of games really freaking struggle from this. And this is like, I was thinking about this earlier today. Like, in my mind, this is kind of cheating.
Yeah.
It's cheating, but like, it's so interesting that you have something like Warzone, which I'm not saying is they don't really do pay to win.
Yeah.
They used to in freaking Advanced Warfare, and I could never get that Obsidian Steed.
I hated that.
Jump off a bridge. I wanted that Obsidian
hated
Steed.
that.
But they are banning cheaters and like suing cheaters.
Yeah.
And so like I feel like there's a complete agreement in the world of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Cheaters suck.
Yeah.
But then at the exact same time, game companies are 100% down to put in these mechanics that allow people to have extra finances, whatever, to basically just get these advantages in the game, and we don't consider that cheating. You know, if it's not accessible to everyone, then in video games, it's cheating. Yeah. And so you really think about, I don't know much about Battlefront 2, but I know that their ability cards, you just buy them and you pretty much win.
Yeah. So when the game first came out, and they fixed this now, but like, okay, we talked about this at one point, and the game first came out, you could either spend money and just burn through random drops, the loot boxes.
Yeah.
Or you could grind, and I think it said like the amount of time to save up in-game credits to get Darth Vader or something, or to get like, so in Battlefront, you have each character has 3 abilities, whether it's a hero or any kind of the classes, and each ability card has 3 levels. And if you got that 3rd level card, like your weapons would just blow away anybody. If you had that purple epic level, and the heroes had them too, so if you had like Darth Vader's epic level abilities, it was just, you could play as Darth Vader the whole game and you would never die. Nobody could kill you. It was ridiculous. It could turn the whole game around from one person. And to get the equivalent without spending money, it was close to 1,000 hours to play just to get one hero. And the game has like 16 heroes.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
Thousands of hours to unlock everything. That game was just broken from the get go, and we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a perfect example. You think of I know you don't really play a lot of sports games. I play 2K, and I'm pretty much burnt out from it right now. You still bought it though. Okay, yeah, whatever. I still bought it. Shut up. But I don't really play the online stuff. But their online stuff with pack openings, like getting these different players that are just like, is it leaps and bounds or leagues and bounds? Leaps and bounds.
You leap and you bound.
Leagues and bounds above everything else. Like every other card, every other player. Like if you don't have these players, you are, just by having them, you are making everybody else that doesn't have those cards as well fight an uphill battle regardless of skill. Yeah. You're already putting an advantage. Yeah. And it's insane. Yeah. All of that type of stuff. We were talking about just before this started, the big debacle with EA employees in FIFA, and it coming out that EA employees were selling on the pseudo black market, Twitter, incredibly rare cards for hundreds of dollars or pounds or whatever the crap the freaking EU uses. And like the fact that that's a thing in video games is insane. And then you also have some things like Red Dead Online. I played Red Dead Online for 3 days and was like, wow, this economy is already blown to hell. Yeah. It wasn't as bad. I mean, I haven't, like I said, I haven't played. But I mean, GTA's economy is insanely expensive. But Red Dead Online and then Fallout 76 was just a cash grab.
Yeah. Oh, the whole game. Like the thing,
just a whole crash. Yeah. So it's like, and honestly, I would even say that Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I feel like I'm going to keep going back to Call of Duty. Yeah. Because Advanced Warfare was such a unique game because it was the first one that did that. And the fact that they had, this is the, I guess Black Ops 3 was also kind of this way. Black Ops 3 had the worst loot system I've ever played or heard people. Black Ops 3 had, they dropped a lot of DLC guns, but they were, almost all of them were only accessible inside of loot boxes. And there was one gun from Black Ops 2, the MSMC, that came back, and it was still God tier. It was like it was, probably anywhere from top 3 guns in the whole game. And it came back in Black Ops 3, and I know of people. I've talked to people online that have spent hundreds of dollars on cases, and they still don't have it.
Yeah.
It's insane. You can play. We got Jonah played hundreds of hours in that game,
Yeah.
and he still doesn't have half of the DLC guns.
Yeah.
And it's just insane that these games, like I don't understand what goes through your brain thinking that it's a good idea for you, for your company to say, you know what, I don't care. I just want to make a garbage amount of money. I want to swim in money.
Yeah.
And just eviscerate skill.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just gonna say, like, all four. We have 4 examples.
Yeah.
All 4 of these examples with Battlefront, sports games as a genre, Red Dead Online, and Fallout 76, all had horrible reception, dying communities, and they've either at least to their credit, Battlefront 2 and Fallout 76, the 2 most notable, totally revamped the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And now they have people that actually play it, but the damage is done. I mean, Battlefield, Battlefield. If they made a Battlefield 3, I think people would buy it just because it's Battlefront. Sorry,
they are making they're making a new Battlefield, so don't get it confused.
Yeah, nobody cares. And then Fallout 76, like Bethesda's company is basically a shamble of what it was back in 2011 with Skyrim.
Yeah.
So it's like these companies make these games that are designed to make them more money, just not even including the sale of the game. And then their reception is blown to hell.
Yeah.
Their company almost goes under multiple times. And then they're like, you know what? Forget yearly release. Let's do this again. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
And another company tries it, and the exact same thing happens. And it's like, I feel like it's like politics. Like sometimes you're like, dude, how did you get where you are?
Yeah.
Because you make stupid decisions all the time.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I'll just use. So I'll jump down a bit. I'll come back to the cosmetic-based games. Jump down a bit because you referenced how much money they make. And I think it's worth noting, or I'll point out EA. I think that they're a good example here. In Q3 of 2020, EA made 900. This is in one quarter. This is 3 months. Made 900.
Oh, damn! I didn't see that part.
Yeah, $951 million off of live services. This compares to only $722 million from the actual game sales. So when you go and buy your $60 game, $70 game now, God, all of that piles up to $722 million. That is only 75% of what they made off of live services after the purchase of those games. So they're making way more off of their microtransactions than they are these games when they sell them. Then, on top of that, over that 12-month period, Q1 to Q4, they made $3.9, pretty much $4 billion. Like, it's so close to $4 billion. It's $4 billion just from live services. And, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Everybody has moved away. They're kind of coming back now, but for a long time, companies moved away from single-player games, and this is probably why. Because, EA made Jedi Fallen Order, but you're not going to throw in, like, here, get you these lightsaber colors, here's a new hilt. I'm not going to buy it. Like, that's not going to make, I'm not going to, I can't show off.
Lightsaber color can look like an orange.
Like, I get it in Call of Duty where you can buy, like, the laser beam colors, and, like, you can buy these skins. I'm not going to do that in a single-player game.
There's not as much monetary creativity allowed in single player games.
Yeah. You buy it for the experience by yourself, and that's it. You don't buy it to get all this other stuff later. So anyway, we'll come back to cosmetics. So games that do this are usually free games, and they offer in-game purchases of skins, things like victory poses, accessories on like your guns or your character or things like that, like tags, voices in Paladins, and I assume Overwatch. You can do it in Paladins. I assume you can in Overwatch.
What? Sorry, say that again.
Like buy character voices.
Yeah, with their in-game currency.
I don't ever. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever. I haven't ever never played Overwatch. Played Paladins, yeah. So
That's insane. Overwatch at its hype, or at its peak.
I didn't have anybody to play with. That was when everybody was on Xbox.
Yeah, you freaking loser.
Yeah. So anyway, examples of this are like I already said. Okay, listen. I didn't have friends. I did. I was friends with you, but we didn't have. That was in the days of console wars when if you had a PlayStation,
crossplay.
Yeah, you didn't talk to anybody with an Xbox. Like now, it's like whatever. So, which I'm glad for. But anyway, these games they fund their free game off of things that don't affect the actual gameplay. And like I said earlier, Hi-Rez is a good example of this. All of their games. Pretty sure all of their games are free. All of their games just have cosmetics. You cannot affect the gameplay. So Paladins, Dota is one. Overwatch is another one. And CSGO, while they have a major like toxic gambling system, community, and like all that, you can still only buy skins. So as far as the game goes, it's pretty ethical. But like people still go and spend so much money to get a knife skin or whatever. But it's not the developer's fault.
And it's kind of crazy. I feel like CSGO, and I know that there are other games, but specifically CSGO, like the fact that they have like a marketplace. That's kind of something cool.
Excuse me.
I know at least 2K has, I'm sure, or NBA 2K. I'm sure that some of the other sports games, but they have like a marketplace where you can resell. So like with like
go ahead and remind me to add something on to that after.
CSGO, like if you get a key in a case and you roll a knife, like you're able to see how much those knives cost. And sometimes it's like, whatever, like $15. Then there are some knives where it's like, holy crap, that thing, if you put it on the marketplace where people can spend their own money on in-game cosmetics, that thing can sell or has sold recently for like $300.
Yeah.
So it's insane how I'll say this, but I want to just be upfront. I would totally do this if I had a ton of money. People are so stupid with their money. And people are so stupid that they want to buy a skin that looks like a tiger freaking nutsack, and they're just like, "Oh, this is great!" Like it's crazy how people want to spend their money.
I agree.
I'd do it if I had money. I'd do it.
Yeah. See, I mean,
You were gonna add something.
Oh yeah. So an example of something with a marketplace that I have played. You know what Warframe is, right? You just never really played it.
Yeah.
It's like the alien.
You're like an alien, and I always
ninja.
made mine, kind of look like a phallic image, if I could.
You could easily do that,
Yeah, I
with
did
the
that.
one that it starts you with, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So that's not what I was pointing out, but that got me off.
The phallic images.
You just threw me off in my thought process. Anyway, so when the PS4 first came out, pretty much, and it's so weird to think that I'm talking about when the PS4 first came out, which is like close to 10 years ago now.
That's insane.
Yeah. So when it first came out, the only thing that you could really play was Warframe, and because there was nothing else out, everybody that I knew was still on PS3. Peasants. I buy it right when it comes out. That's not how I meant it, but it was already coming out, so I just went with it. It was already out there. And I've been a lot. I need to stop doing that. I just noticed that.
You do that, and then I've noticed when I edit the audio, you do a lot of like you'll kind of be talking, and then you go.
I do that. Don't I? That's my.
And then you start talking.
That's my conversation starter. I'm about to drop
swallowing.
a bomb.
Yeah. Like,
let me get that. Yeah.
I have a lot of credit card debt.
Okay. Back to what I was saying. Before I was making self-deprecating jokes, and it really turned into something hurtful.
And we talked about debt.
Credit card. So, okay, let me get back to this. So, okay, yeah, Warframe. Sorry, I had to get back on track.
Dude, I was really hoping you were going to forget.
What was I talking about? Warframe. All right. So, in Warframe, they release the characters every so often. And you can go and get these ones called Prime or these prime weapons, which are like these really good weapons, and you build them with parts. And to get the parts, you have to beat raids. And so you can spend, and it's not hard to get them. Like, I went and had a couple builds of really high desirable weapons and things like that. And they have an in-game economy. You can't get real money like in CSGO, but you can get their in-game currency, which people buy with real money, called Platinum. And I never spent any money on the game, but I figured out it was me, my brother, Ian, unsurprisingly, he's the one to do it, to make a freaking in-game business. And another guy that we used to play video games with. We would go and do these raids, get these builds, find out when these builds were going to be the most desired, like, the price would be the highest, and then put them on the marketplace on there and like negotiate with these people and get so much. Like, I had hundreds of dollars worth of in-game currency. I never spent anything.
Really?
So I think like games that do it like that, where you can, all it is, it's not saying you're going to get more skill if you put the money down. It's not saying, okay, because pretty much you had to buy it from other players. So it was interesting. Yeah, the weapon parts. It was interesting because
okay, now I'm following.
You couldn't really buy them flat out.
Yeah.
You had to put in the money, and you could either choose to do all of the you could grind to do it yourself and get the parts, or you could get somebody else to grind for you, pay them for it, and then get the parts. And you couldn't buy it from the store, so it made this really interesting in-game economy to where it was, you could either be the one working for it and get the money, or you could be the one with the money and then pay. It's like the real world, We had in-game
capitalism,
in-game free market, baby. So it was really interesting. So I forgot to even put that down in the notes, but all of their stuff, like I said, you could buy stuff, but you had to buy it off of other players, and then all the stuff you could buy was cosmetic. So it was a cool balance, and the game's still booming. Apparently, I haven't played it in years, but
I thought about playing it on PS5.
Yeah,
'cause I just got bored.
Yeah, it's on everything now too. It's on Switch and everything. Yeah,
It's freaking Switch.
I know it looks really bad because
the
the game looks really good on PC and I guess PS5 too. It looks.
Yeah, it looks
trash.
like donkey crap. I understand like kids that their parents haven't bought them, a newer console or whatever. But it's like I remember when Apex was announced.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that game
it looks so bad
on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Granted, I had an original Xbox One.
Yeah,
the game looked like garbage.
Yeah.
And it ran like garbage, but it's such a huge game.
Yeah,
the scope is so massive, and then they were like, "Oh, we're bringing it on the Switch." Like, that game is gonna run like freaking like Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah,
I'm gonna actually.
Are you gonna Google the pronunciation of it?
Yeah, I'm absolutely.
You should have done that in the last episode or the episode before this.
Yeah,
the episode before the one before this.
I should have. Oh, I just Googled Ocarina. Didn't.
Definition. All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to move on to video game, or not necessarily video game addiction, because that's its own beast, but really gambling addiction in video games. So there are studies-ish, not scientific studies, but there are studies on how loot box addiction is similar to gambling addiction.
Damn it!
Did you just play it? That was loud. I could hear it from here. Play it again. Ocarina.
That's stupid. Yeah. Hang on. I think I spelled it wrong.
Why do you spell it wrong? It's giving you the definition.
Ocarina.
God!
Yeah. You just say something weird.
Ocarina.
Oh, you.
That's Croatian.
So you say it Croatian is what you're telling me.
No.
Ocarina.
That was.
Ocarina.
That's closer to Ocarina.
Yeah.
So you say it closer to Croatian than you do American.
I'm a little bit Italian, so I'm going to see real quick what it sounds like.
Ocarina.
That's how I sound when I say it.
You ever played
You ready?
Ocarina of Time?
All right. Tell me, you guys, hit us up at our social medias. Waypoint on Twitter, Digital Waypoint on Instagram.
It is on Spotify.
It is on
though.
Spotify.
It is.
Tell me. All right. Tell me if you hear a difference. Ocarina.
Ocarina.
There's no difference. I didn't hear anything. Let's try it one more time.
I didn't see the hand curl. You got
It is a Ocarina.
Ocarina.
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
I don't even know if that's picking it up.
I probably is.
Okay.
It's loud.
All right.
If it's not, then we just spend a minute and a half, and it sounds really weird. And I'm not gonna change anything when I edit it.
It's just dead silent.
I'm not gonna fix it in post.
See if you hear anything, and it's just dead silence.
Ocarina, nothing. It's the same.
I was getting into a serious topic of addiction.
Addiction. Sorry. All right.
Talking about Ocarina.
I'm Croatian.
That's how Mario says Ocarina of Time. That's what it is. Anyway, all right. So, loot boxes. They tap into your risk and reward. You sit there and you're like, okay, I'm finally going to get the card I want. I'm finally going to get the skin I want. I'm finally going to get the gear I want. And then you don't. So you're sitting there like, okay, $5 more, $5 more, $5 more. And eventually you're up to, hundreds of dollars. And just like you said about Jonah, you don't have the gun you want.
He didn't spend a lot of money. He just played the game naturally.
Yeah.
And he's still, yeah.
That's just my point.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right. So, you go and spend all this money and then you don't actually get what you want. So, this pattern is especially dangerous. I don't know what I'm saying right now. These words have lost meaning as many times as I've read it.
You're doing good.
This is dangerous for, minors and kids, because they don't have any money management skills and they don't have any really decision-making skills anyway. Like the whole point is when
kids are idiots.
Yeah. The whole point when you have a kid, you have to make decisions for them because they don't know what's good for them.
Oh my God.
So like you said, your friend stole his mom's credit card and he was not thinking, this is $300 of my parents' money.
Dude was like,
this
is a freaking dope base.
I'm going to get crystal walls with this. So it's like,
that is so funny.
They don't get it.
He got so much trouble. They took his phone from him. They probably gave it back to him.
Shocker. Yeah. How awful of a punishment is that? I'm taking your phone. It's very 21st century first world.
I'm sure he got more. I mean, if he was my kid, I don't know, y'all listening, y'all's opinions on spanking. He would lash my child.
This is getting real opinionated,
right? Bro, let me tell you something. I would cat o' nine tails, what they did to the Lord and Savior. I would do that to my child's butt.
That's
If
pretty harsh.
If my kid stole my credit card and spent $300 on an app, I would not be happy.
Yeah.
And I would spank him.
Yeah. I was in Target the other day, and as I do,
as you frequent.
I'm white, and I go to Target. They are one and the same. I shouldn't have even had to set up. If I say I go to Target,
as soon as you say Target, you think white.
So I was in there, and I was getting Super Mario Bros. 3D World, whatever, the new one that just came out, Bowser's Fury.
The furry one?
And, yeah, the cat one.
Okay.
Specify cat, please. Anyway, so I was back there with a guy who was buying his kid not a DS Lite. God, I'm old. A Switch Lite.
Man.
And the kid was, it's nice yellow Switch Lite. It was $200, and the Mario game. He's buying Mario 3D World.
He's dropping almost $300.
Yeah, and his kid crying, and just upset about something, not being in store too long or something. I was like, bro, if I'm spending $300 on my kid, and it wasn't. They just said they were doing it. This was not a birthday present. They were just doing it because he wanted it. Just some nice parents, And I was like,
well-off parents.
If my kid was in here crying, I'm dropping $300 on him. I'd be like, see this? Smash! I'll spend the $300 just to smash it in your face and make you realize the
value of the dollar.
Yeah. Now you're gonna go work and pay off the $300, kid. That's what's gonna happen.
Back to addiction.
To not parenting, and neither of us are fathers. Please take that into account. Anyway, so this addiction and the studies and things is too much to go into right now to put into this episode. But I would like to look into it further, just video game addiction as a whole, and how this plays into it. There are articles on IGN, PC Gamer, GameSpot that have done sort of studies. They've interviewed people that have spent all this money.
As much as you can do a study with IGN.
Yeah, too much water is what they say. So there, it's not really a study. They're just articles that they've written. There's been no real scientific studies because in the U.S., video games and video game addiction is not taken very seriously.
Oh no.
In Japan, it really is because it's a huge part of their culture. But in the U.S., you're still seen as like, oh, you're just, you live in your mom's basement and you do all that. They don't take it serious as like an actual issue. So there hasn't been a whole lot of American or European studies done on this.
Yeah.
So, and I can't read Japanese, so I can't read their studies. So, in my world, there hasn't been anything. So tell me your opinions on sterilizing loot boxes.
Yeah, so I thought it was a funny way to describe it, of sterilizing loot boxes.
Is that like I can't even think of the word. Anyway, neutering them, sterilizing them,
taking the venom out of loot boxes.
That's
Because
not how I
this
was
is-
thinking of this.
I
was either
had an
thinking
idea.
pandemic, like sterile, like cleaning it, or I was
Oh.
thinking like sterilize as in taking away their ability to reproduce.
So, all right. So I came up with 3 ideas, and I've thought about these for a long time. And honestly, again, going back to Call of Duty, specifically Advanced Warfare, because this is one of the first times that a AAA game, at least to my knowledge, a AAA game really started to dip their toes in loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time they did it. And honestly, I think it was probably the best time that they did it, even though the odds specifically sucked. The way that you obtained loot boxes was really good. And that's kind of my first point, is making loot boxes easy to earn.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, one of the big things when you make, let's say, like a new skin, and you promote that new skin, you're promoting it to the players that are already playing. They're like, oh man, I really want to get that. But there are players that don't play the game, and if they see a skin that they really like, that might be enough for them to either pick the game back up, or if they're kind of on the fence, they're like, oh, I can look like this,
Yeah.
or my gun can look like this.
Yeah.
That's
I think that Fortnite's a good example of that.
yeah, Fortnite.
Like when they add in those characters, that's piqued my interest.
Oh yeah,
They had the whole Galactus battle with the Avengers in Fortnite, and I
yeah.
was
You
like,
could be freaking Thanos.
I was like, well, I might pick this up.
Yeah, like that. The cosmetics, like we were joking about earlier, about how much people are willing to spend on some of these things.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing where
Yeah.
people genuinely are excited about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that Advanced Warfare, I don't remember the exact because I didn't play it very long.
I didn't either.
But basically, if you played enough or did enough in game, you could get a loot box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was really cool. You can't do that as easily. I think Overwatch is another great example. Every time that you level up, you get a loot box. And it's the same amount of XP each time. There's never, it doesn't take like 100 and then 200 and then 1,000. Like it's always the same amount of XP.
Yeah.
And if you're playing well, you can get a lot more loot boxes. And I think that's a great idea. I think for something like Call of Duty, where you've got 8 minutes per, like if you're just playing deathmatch, you probably got like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
You play, and then it's over. I think if they wanted to introduce loot boxes, I think an easy way to do it is something sort of like, I've thought about, like, let's say that you've got the most kills in the lobby. You get a loot box. Let's say that you won. You got a loot box. If you're playing a team or like a score-based thing, and you get the top score, you get a loot box.
Yeah.
I think things like that help create this desire to play the game more without it feeling grindy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And my issue is way less with even it being grindy and more just like you spend money and you get stuff in it. I'm totally fine even if they put things that up like your ability in the game, or like it's a better gun. If somebody's legitimately winning more matches than me fairly, they didn't buy anything to beat me. They're just better than me, and they're unlocking these things because they're better, or they get there quicker. They get more XP or whatever, or like you said, they get something for winning or getting the most points because they are a better player, and they get these rewards quicker than me, or they get them and I just don't get them at all, I think that's totally fine, because then it comes down to skill based, and it's not like how much can you spare on a video game, because that's, that just comes down to.
But even that, there's not a lot of incentivization for people that are bad. And I don't remember what company it was, but some company said that they were making their games easier because newer players are having a hard time getting into it.
Yeah.
I think in some ways I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't care.
Yeah.
But then in other ways, there's a legitimate argument to say, specifically for loot boxes, they making them easier to earn makes loot boxes more and less desirable at the same time. They make them more desirable because you can get, like, wait, I think what I wrote doesn't make any sense. I said more as they are harder to get. I want them easier to get. They make them more desirable because they are. Oh, no. Okay. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. I'm talking about loot boxes now. Loot boxes now are more and less desirable because they're so grindy.
Yeah.
They're more desirable because there aren't that many of them. So in circulation, there's not a lot of them, not as many of them going around.
Yeah.
But they also, so that's like, okay, so you get people that are ready to grind, but then you also get people that don't want to grind.
Yeah.
They've got 3-4 hours in a week where they can play it, and they want to play it and they want to get this stuff. But there's just no feasible way that they're going to be able to get anything unless they roll, that lucky roll, whatever the percentage is, which is generally less than 1%.
Yeah.
So making them easier to earn gives the people that are willing to put a lot more hours into these games. For one, they're going to get better, so they're going to be able to get more loot boxes.
Yeah.
Thus, they're going to have a better chance of getting the stuff that they want, as well as you give the people that can only spend a couple of hours a week, like, they're still able to open these things, and they're still able to get that dopamine release that you get from when you open something and you get something that you want.
Yeah.
So I think making loot boxes easier to earn benefits both sides. And then it's just on the company to make good cosmetics.
Yeah.
Which isn't inherently easy.
Yeah.
It's also not inherently difficult.
Yeah.
And that's what they're getting paid to do. It's like, do your job. do your job. So yeah, that was kind of my first big thing, was make loot boxes easier to earn. Once you do that, just about everything else fixes itself. Kind of the part B, it's kind of 1A, 1B. In order for loot boxes, excuse me. I had to clear my throat. In order for loot boxes to really, like, to not be what they have been in the problems with, like, FIFA and with Battlefront 2, they have to be cosmetics. We have to shift from advantage pay to win to cosmetics only. And we kind of talked about that. But it creates an unfair power dynamic for, some we just talked about this, for some basement dweller who just leeches off of his parents. Yeah. And he's able to drop $300 on these loot boxes and get Obsidian Steeds, to get MSMCs. Yeah. Like, they're able to get these guns that dominate the meta, and then you have some college kid who just wants to have fun, but has zero money, and that was me. Yeah. All of college. Yeah. Like, and they have no money. Yeah. And they're getting dominated. You could still beat them. Like, the gun doesn't inherently win you the game.
But it kind of did.
But it can.
Yeah.
It absolutely can. Yeah. And so it's like, that's kind of the 1B, is like, they have to be easy to earn, and they have to be cosmetics. Yeah. But even cosmetics, like, I don't know if you saw a couple weeks ago, Modern Warfare, Warzone got into there was a big controversy because there was a skin. Like, Warzone, big BR, it's got a lot of cosmetics, a lot of old school Call of Duty or characters, and so it's really fun. Like, they did a really good job with Call of Duty Advanced
Battle Royale. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I like Apex. But
I'm not smart enough for Apex.
neither am But there was a skin that dropped, and it was this chick, and she was in completely black armor, camo, whatever, and like blacked out her face. And like at first glance, it was just like, okay, it's a tactical whatever. Like there are skins that are darker than other ones. I generally play the Russian guy without a shirt on, and I say that I look like a Russian dog. So yeah, it's freaking hilarious. I'm sorry.
Loud.
Yep, that is my wife. In any case, but they came out with that skin. And what people started to realize is if you use this skin, you are almost in dimly lit areas. It wasn't even dark. Dimly lit, you were invisible. If you sat in a corner, you were invisible. And when you're running around in something like a BR, especially at the beginning when you're just like picking up everything you can find, you couldn't see those people.
Yeah,
and so like even cosmetics, there's a level of pay to win that you have to. There's a very fine needle or thread, both that you have to work with.
Yeah.
And so you need to, so it has to be cosmetics, but you also have to be sure that your cosmetics are not winning you the game. You know?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's something I hadn't really thought about. Because when I think cosmetics, I think like, I do think Advanced Warfare, and I think, usually when I think of cosmetics, I'm thinking of like weapon skins.
Yeah.
And character skins, I more think of like team-based shooters and things like that are more
like you have like
Overwatch.
Like Overwatch. Yeah, you have.
That's usually what I think of, but that is a good point. That's like a good edge case that I haven't considered of. I haven't played Modern Warfare in forever. I probably would have heard about it. But yeah, that is a good point because I guess there is a line to where skins can alter the gameplay.
Yeah.
So interesting.
1A, 1B, they have to be easy to earn, and they have to be cosmetics. Yeah. If you beaten that into the ground. There's only one other thing. I'm sure that if I really sat down and thought about this for a lot longer, I'd be able to find something else or think of something else. But I think showing the percentages of what you're rolling for, I think is really important. I think I could be wrong.
There's some games that do this.
I feel like Apex did it or does it.
Okay.
Because they would show like, all right, you have a 60% chance to roll a common item. And then it was like you have a 2% chance to roll a legendary item.
Uh-huh.
And so I think giving the players the ability to see what they're rolling for does well on both sides. It gives the player like, all right, if I'm going to spend this money, this is what I'm gunning for. Is, a pack of 10 loot boxes for, $5. Is that worth, trying to roll for a 2% chance on each of those loot boxes? So it gives the players the ability to be like, is this worth it?
Yeah.
And then again, it goes back to the company, make it worth it.
Yeah.
But then I feel like it's also good for the company because then you can say like, we showed you don't have a good percentage of getting it from these loot boxes, yet you still bought it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that takes a lot of the heat off of the company because they're giving the more information that the player has, the better it is for both sides. Mm-hmm. So I think, I've definitely I haven't spent a lot of money, but especially when I was playing a ton of Overwatch, like I think it was 2018, I put a whole lot of hours into that game.
Yeah.
And I think I put 550 hours into Overwatch in 2018. Like I put a ton of time into it. And I spent money every now and then on loot boxes.
Yeah.
But if I were to see, like if it were, like again, like I was saying, like if it were to say you have a 2% chance of getting a legendary item, I probably wouldn't have bought as many loot boxes as I had. But that still forces video game companies to incentivize making good cosmetics. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I feel like it keeps players on their toes because they're still like, dude, do I want to freaking like do this?
Yeah.
But it also keeps companies on their toes for them to be like, all right, I have to, if I want to build my company around loot boxes, I need to make it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if people can see 2%, if people can see the percentages of what they're going to buy or get in a loot box, I guarantee loot box sales are going to go down.
Yeah.
So then it's on the company, make it worth their time.
Yeah. I agree. It's funny, while you were talking, I was Googling ways, like just loot boxes in general. And it looks like those are pretty good opinions. Pretty good. Are you an industry analyst? A consultant?
Now I'm a pissed off gamer head.
Because there's people, these articles are saying a lot of the same things. Like one of the big ones though that I didn't think about was the ability to trade duplicate items for
That's
other
a big
stuff.
thing.
I hadn't thought about that. I have thought about it in the past when I'm playing certain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Battlefront, if you got a duplicate, it would automatically dismantle or whatever they called it and gave you stuff. But it's like
Overwatch did the same thing. If you got a duplicate, you got their in-game currency.
Yeah.
So for like, if you got a common that you already have, you're gonna get it was like 25 of their currency.
Yeah.
And then it just went up for the rarity.
Yeah.
So but I think that is smart to not prevent. I think you can make the argument for preventing duplicates, but I also think that you can make the argument for finding a way to make duplicates still worth some of your time and money.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think like maybe if you could combine your duplicates to like upgrade your current one, or if you get 3 of the same kind, 3 duplicates, you upgrade it to the next tier of something or something like that, you know.
Oh yeah.
Where it's still kind of worth, you still want to get the duplicate.
Yeah.
But you know,
gives duplicates points. There's an app that I play just on my phone when I have time, and it does that same thing. You get 3 of the same.
Is it Arch Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's a good game. Yeah. I was just thinking of that. That's what gave me the thought. All right. Unless you have anything else, that kind of, we're at the bottom of our list. You want to add anything? If not, I'll head into the wrap up.
No.
Okay. Are you sure? I'm just gonna go into it if you don't.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
I'm trying to think. Let me think. No, yeah, I think we covered it. I think we talked about the pros and cons. We talked about pay to win and how it's basically just cheating.
Yeah.
And then cosmetics, and I got to talk about Noah's 3 steps to sterilize loot boxes. Number 1, make it easy for casuals. All right, yeah. I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right.
I said my piece.
So anyway, I think with the way that the video game culture is heading, it looks like loot boxes and their more dislikable traits won't really be an issue in about like 5 to 10 years. Japan, China, the Netherlands, and Belgium have all put pretty strict laws into place. Belgium specifically. All of these, they're
the waffle people, right?
Belgian waffle, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, can I get a clear thought across? I can't even talk now. God. Sorry. Waffle. That's what's in my head. I just picture it. So anyway, all these laws are pretty much to stop minors from buying them, but Belgium is the first country to make laws specifically classifying loot boxes as online gambling. So like if you're not 18 or however old an adult in the country that they make this law in, you're not going to buy these. Like you cannot play games with these in them. So it's kind of forced.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of forced. And I don't agree with that necessarily if it's, I mean, I guess I do because kids, they're just going to spend their parents' money. I don't have anything against somebody that's an adult spending too much money on these things. That's their own problem. But, so these are specifically to stop kids from buying them. So anyway, that's what I wrote down on this wrap up. That was my thoughts. But again, while you were talking, I was looking at loot box stuff. And I'm hoping that this is just meaning loot boxes are going to go cosmetic and still make money, because I'm looking at this chart, this prediction chart, and in 2020, loot boxes made $15 billion in the U.S. Just U.S. only.
Cow.
Yeah. They're saying by 2025, this market share is going to go up to $20.3 billion. So it's going to increase. I hope that just increases in cosmetics and things that don't affect gameplay, but you never know.
I feel like with the boldness of people that are playing games, and their willingness to sue,
everything. I see a class action lawsuit every day.
It's
almost
insane.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably going to go the same way. We're going to see less and less of these shady loot box things, because it is. I mean, it is entirely gambling.
It is, yeah, 100%.
It's, at least with gambling, you know, like to go into a casino, do you have to be 18 to go into a casino?
21.
21. You have to be 21.
You can be 18 and play slots, but you have to be 21 to do anything else.
So the fact that 10-year-olds are able to just go in and drop, you know, $250 daddy's credit card, it's insane. And so I agree. I feel like with the boldness of people to sue, and the spotlight that these games are now being viewed under, I feel like it's only.
I feel like it can't keep going the same way.
And it won't. There's no way that it can. It's these games. If they continue to be like this, if they continue to be a Battlefront 2, if they continue to be a beginning Battlefront 2, if they continue to do a Fallout 76, they're going to implode. Yeah. And we're watching it happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we've lived through probably the worst time of loot boxes. I feel like even now they're getting better. I would say even since like 2018, 2019, I think that was the worst. I think that was the peak, because I feel like these past couple of years have gotten better. With things like Epic being a little more responsible with it. I think they know the reason that they really did that is they know their target audience, which is kids, and Ninja,
graders,
you know,
and Ninja.
So, kids and blue hairs. That's their target audience. But anyway, I think it's looking up. I don't have to deal with this anyway, because I don't play multiplayer games. Who's time to do that? I don't have to deal with this anyway.
That's a solution.
Yeah.
Quit playing these games, you idiots. You dumb kids. Go home and read a book and eat an apple.
That's true. Or play God of War.
I
saw that a remake of The Last of Us is getting done. A remake of a game that came out in 2013. Hasn't even been 10 years yet. Why? Anyway, different topic. I was just thinking single-player games. Something to add on there at the end. But yeah, that's about it. That's all my thoughts on it.
Yeah. So that was part 2 of our 2-part series talking about bad games and sort of what we think about them. If we reference something that you didn't understand, we probably talked about it in the other part. So go ahead and check that out. Google it.
Why'd you say that?
Google it. I don't know.
Google it.
I thought you were like implying something. Google it, and if you want to hit us up at our socials, like I said earlier, you can talk to us at DigiWaypoint on Twitter, Digital Waypoint on Instagram. You have any thoughts, any comments, any things you think we royally biffed up, hit us up. We're always down to talk.
Any parenting tips for Noah?
You say parenting tips? Parenting tips for me. I am not a dad, and I don't care to be your dad. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening. Check us out next Friday when we talk about something freaking lit. And again, with that said, I said that I'm going to say it 3 times now. And with that being said, it's time for that outro music, baby. Woo!